So I've owned my Tesla for the last 2 or so years now, and I'm kind of getting tired of it. I mean, I don't know if you guys know about it, but I've had to take my car into service countless amount of times, and at this rate, I'm looking at a new vehicle that's not a Tesla. And so Chevrolet sent out their brand new 2025 Silverado EV LT extended range, and we're gonna see how good it is. Now to start off, this thing has a 390 mile rated range, which is kind of insane comparing it to, well, any other Tesla on the market. I mean, even the Cybertruck tops out at, what, 290, 300, something like that? This thing getting 380, 390 is actually kind of insane, considering this thing's a massive, massive vehicle. Now, with that being a massive vehicle, this thing actually has a 205 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is bigger than any Tesla I've ever seen, at least. Now, like I said, this truck is massive, so let's go ahead and see how big the frunk space is. Now, unlike the Lyriq that didn't have a frunk at all, this thing, surprisingly, actually has a frunk. And within that frunk space, we actually have a lot of room for carry-ons and stuff. So we have the duffel bag and the MacBook for scale. You could definitely fit like a small carry-on or two in this frunk, or even groceries if you don't want them rolling around in the seat or in the trunk space, which is actually really convenient, especially if you're planning on driving this thing like a normal daily driver and not like a truck. Now, this exact spec's actually rated at $85,000, which ends up still being cheaper than the Cybertruck, even if you include the tax credit, which actually, it kind of makes this thing seem like somewhat of a deal. Even though this thing is fairly expensive, you're still getting a lot for what you pay for, which is really nice to see. And coming around to the back of the truck, we actually have a 10-foot long bed, and you might be wondering how it's able to achieve that, considering it's just a standard pickup truck. Well, folding the tailgate down, you can see that we actually have this centerpiece here that allows you to extend the tailgate for more storage. And in the back, you can move the seats down and get a full 10.5 feet of space, roughly. I mean, at least 10 feet, which is insane for a pickup truck. If we move this back seat back to its original position, we have plenty of room. Like, you're not gonna be asking for more leg room because you have quite literally infinite amount of space back here. Not literally, but you get the point. There's a lot of room back here. And as you can see, we actually have seat heaters for the left and right back seats, so you can stay comfortable. Unfortunately, there's no ventilated seat option, but honestly, there's really no car with ventilated rear seats in this class, so I'm not really too surprised. And we also have 2 USB-C ports for the rear passengers, so you can charge your MacBook, phone, camera, literally anything right here. And the rear seat passengers also get 2 full-size cup holders in the back, as well as 2 cup holders on each door, which is actually fairly convenient. And of course, you have the center console in the back, which means you have 2 more cup holders, which means you have a total of 8 cup holders for the rear seat passenger. And now that we're done with the back seat, let's talk about the front seat, because that's what you're actually looking at if you're buying a Silverado EV. Get used to that noise, because that noise that you hear right now doesn't stop, which is a minor drawback for literally every GM vehicle, because it gets kind of annoying if you want to keep the door open. You got to hear that even when the car's powered off. Now, sitting in the front seat of the Silverado EV, we have this massive dash. It doesn't really look massive on camera, but trust me, this thing is big, and it's actually really smooth, but there is one downside. It doesn't have CarPlay. Now, this is something that GM has started to implement in most of their vehicles as of recent, and honestly, it's kind of annoying, but you get used to it fairly quickly, especially considering you can install basically any app you want through the Play Store. So if you want features like Waze open on your center display to use to navigate, you can actually open it and it fully works just like the CarPlay version would. And as you can see, the instrument cluster has that same sort of display. The bezels are fairly thick, but it gets the point across, and honestly, I kind of like how intuitive it is. And this truck is, of course, equipped with Super Cruise, which means you can drive on highways hands-free with this little sensor bar and this little radar sensor right here. Which I must say, after road tripping this car for around 900 miles, video coming soon, this hands-free system actually works a lot better than I thought it would, and it might be better in some instances than autopilot or FSD. Now, of course, you don't have like street driving at stoplights and such, but you have most of the freeway driving done for you, which is kind of the majority of what you're doing on a road trip. Now, the steering wheel itself is actually fairly intuitive. You have a few buttons, including the Super Cruise button over there, as well as the standard cruise control options, as well as your media controls and steering wheel heat function as well on the right. And just like the Cadillac Lyriq that I reviewed recently, this has a digital rear view mirror, which means you can see everything behind you at all times, unlike a standard mirror, which you can also switch this back to. Now, I actually do prefer having this digital mirror here, considering you can see a lot more than you could with a standard mirror. For instance, you can actually zoom in and out of the digital mirror to see more of your blind spot back there. And as far as space goes, you have a lot of it. I mean, you have a wireless charger right here for your phones, as well as 2 USB-C ports to accommodate for charging, as well as 2 full-size cup holders and more hidden room underneath the cup holders. Now, as far as charging the Silverado EV goes, you can actually buy this NACS adapter that allows you to charge at any Tesla supercharging station, which of course increases the amount of charging stations you can actually charge at drastically. The only slight drawback is that level 1 and level 2 Tesla chargers will not work with this adapter. So if you have a Tesla home charger setup, it will not work with the Silverado EV. Now, if you're not using the NACS adapter, you can actually get up to 300 kilowatts via CCS. I actually got up to 307 kilowatts out of an Electrify America station, which is kind of insane. Now, I did actually show the entire charging experience on a video coming soon, coming from the San Francisco area to Las Vegas. So make sure you're subscribed to see any future Silverado EV videos, because trust me, there's a lot more coming soon. Now, would I buy the 2025 Silverado EV? Honestly, if I were in the market for a truck, I would get this in 2 seconds, because this truck by far is the best EV pickup that I've seen to date.
But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe and keep notifications on, and I will see you guys later. NTFTW, signing off. See ya.